TIFU by picking up my mom's prescription for her. My mom likes to leave little post-it notes on the coffee maker for me, 40F, because it's only funnier because of my age, in the mornings on my days off when she has to work early and she needs some errands run. My daughter and I both live with my mom and stepdad. As per the norm, there was a cute little post-it attached to the Keurig this morning asking me to pick up her prescription from Walgreens. Me being the procrastinating daughter I am, I decide to wait to pick up her scripts until I have to get my daughter from school for her dentist apt around 10 a.m. I sent a quick text to my mom, knowing she might not answer in a reasonable time frame as she's working, asking her which Walgreens she needs me to go to. As she hadn't answered by the time I left, I just chose the one in the middle of my town. We have approx 3 in town. Depending on what you count as our town, it's a small town, which has expanded quickly in the last few years, so parts that were once considered country are now town folk. My driving experience to get to this pharmacy was a trial, as I got stuck behind the world's slowest empty dump truck for about 3 miles, which was the distance from my house to this Walgreens. It seems 40 miles per hour was too fast for this guy, as 30 was what we got stuck doing through town. He was empty. The full dump truck next to us passed us twice. Red light. I pull into the Walgreens parking lot and park, paying no attention to the giant LED screen with the company name on it. This is important. Walking inside and back to the pharmacy, I kind of overhear a conversation between a couple of the pharmacy technicians there. They sound a little bit of either irked or worried, but I quickly set my mind on other thoughts as it wasn't my business, and I'm not about to eavesdrop on a conversation that ain't about me. One of the ladies breaks off to help me, and I tell her I was here to pick up a script for my mother. After giving her my mom's name and birth date, I was told they didn't have anything there under her name. I gave her a confused smile and shrugged, telling her that my mom left me a note saying to get her scripts from Walgreens, but that she hadn't told me which one, so I chose the one I know she sent her meds to before. No lie, this woman looked me dead in the eyes, trying not to smile. Her whole face looked like she was trying not to laugh. She said, "Ma'am, this is CVS." My mind blanked. What? No, I made sure to go to Walgreens. Oh crap. My head was screwed on backwards this morning. I was thinking 24-hour pharmacy, not the actual store name. I was trying hard not to slam my head on the counter in shame. I facepalm instead. I look at the woman and give her my best, most cheerful smile and said, "Today hasn't been my day, and it looks like this week is going to be along the same lines. I'm noping out of today. I'm noping out of the rest of this week. I need a restart. Thank you for the help, ladies." Not gonna lie, hearing everyone in the pharmacy crack up at that kinda made it better. It made their troubled day just a little bit brighter, and my embarrassment shall keep going because I do this kind of thing on the regular. It's just the first time I've ever posted about it. It might not be super bad like a lot of TIFUs, but I definitely didn't expect to be given the dumbass award for the day. TLDR. I was supposed to go to Walgreens to pick up my mom's prescription, but put my blinders on and walked into a CVS instead. Oops. TIFU by taking a photo with one of my friends I've known for 8 years, and it made my GF dump me. This story is pretty long and wild, so I'll try to make a TLDR at the bottom. So I was with my ex since high school. It was my senior year we started dating. We were together for almost 5 years. It was the best time of our lives. We always talked about the future and how we love each other so much. We shared hobbies, playing video games, sports, going out together to bars with friends. However, her life got kind of messy. Halfway through the relationship, first of all, she lost all of her friends because she claimed they were mean to her. She would come home crying, hanging out with her friends, saying how they would bully and exclude her in conversations, deliberately being mean. And after about 6 months of that, she essentially cut them off and was left with just me as her real only friend. Which was fine because we were definitely best friends, and I had a very large social circle that accepted her and she liked them all. Okay, so now she's going to university, she makes a couple good friends. However, like 6 months later, again, she stops being friends with them. BC, they are excluding her and not inviting her. Pretty much the same thing, and she didn't try to put any effort in and once again didn't have anyone else but me, which once again I was fine with and supported her no matter what. However, where the issues started to affect our relationship is when she dropped out of university going into second year. She pretty much just sat at home by herself or was with me and smoking a lot of weed with no real future plan at the time and saw no issue with it. Me, though, I'm very motivated and was in a very intense fast-track college program to become a pilot, and I think that maybe intimidated her? I'm not too sure, but whenever I would try to talk to her about careers or school, she would get mad and kind of just never come to a conclusion. Okay, so fast forward. 2 springs, she gets a job at a private golf course. She absolutely loved working here. She is an absolutely beautiful blonde girl that makes really good money with tips, and the environment has some type of cult-like feel to it where every member knows her name and gives her kind of a purpose in life, if that makes sense. So first summer seems fine. She made money, had fun, and made some new work friends. Fall, though, is coming up, and she still doesn't know what to do for school, so decides not to go back. Fast forward to spring again, and she is back working at the golf course more than ever and kind of acting differently. Like I said, we never got in fights ever that were so serious. It couldn't be resolved in less than an hour or before bed. But this August, she flipped out on me one day because she saw I took photos with another girl, just us sitting beside each other on a couch. That has been in my social circle since elementary school, who she also has known now for 4 years. My GF was also insecure, but I had no idea me taking photos would result in this. She saw the photos by going on my phone when I was sleeping, even though I always let her on my phone anyway. And a week later, she called me at 12 a.m., bawling her eyes out, calling me a cheater and asking if I loved her still. And then like 4 days later, she dumped me, completely blindsided. I was shattered. I should also note that her parents bought her a new dog to help with her mental state because she's been so off, and that dog died about 4 weeks before our fight, and they only owned it for about 5 months, and it shattered her. Okay, so after she breaks up with me, she tells me she still loves me and wants to talk to me every day. I was very confused by this. She also told me that she wants to get back together in the future and she just needs time to heal. So like 2 days go by of us talking, and I tell her that this is bullshit and isn't fair to me. So I initiate no contact, and this is about mid-August. Fast forward to end of August, I get a phone call for a job offer at my first pick major airline. It was like a blessing from God. I'm a good-looking 22-year-old man that's going to be making $70 an hour with great opportunities ahead of me. So after we break up too, I learned she's been sneakily doing pills at work since last summer. She's been doing Adderall recreationally, and a work colleague who is a 50-year-old woman has been supplying them to her for free. Take into that this 50-year-old now hangs out with my 20-year-old GF, just them two, drinking wine and doing Adderall together, and this is one of her only friends. Fast forward to September, she reaches out to me and wishes me happy B-Day. Then a week later, she finds out about my new job and reaches out again congratulating me and saying how proud she is and a bunch of small talk. Then another week goes by, and it's our university homecoming. She doesn't have any friends, though, right? So she decides to go out with her original high school friends who used to bully her to the point where she would cry and be shaking when I would pick her up. Later that day, I get a phone call from her, but didn't answer because I was drinking and busy and just didn't notice at the time. So I texted her the next day just asking if she had something important to say. And she replied with, "Sorry, it was an accident. I highly doubt you can call someone by accident, especially when you don't talk anymore." Maybe I dodged a bullet? I don't know. This situation is very strange and messing with me mentally. TLDR GF of 5 years randomly dumped me over one fight that wasn't even serious, but wanted to stay in contact and told me we'd be back together. And after the fact, I found out a bunch of messed up issues and still am confused where my heart is at. TIFU. Not today, but I left my daughter outside her dance class for an hour. TIFU. This happened 2 years ago. I dropped off my 7-year-old daughter to her dance class. The entrance is on the side of the building. I had my other 2 kids in the car, aged 9 and 11 boys. The boys were distracting me with their nonsense. It was a cold day. I went home. Her class ended in an hour. My wife was doing the pickup. My wife called me an hour later, really upset. Apparently, class was canceled at last minute that day, and neither of us saw the email. My poor sweet angel stood outside the dance studio crying for an hour. The doors were locked. My wife came home in tears. My daughter was in tears. I grabbed my daughter apologizing and I broke down in tears. She said was so scared and didn't know what to do. It's all my fault. I wasn't paying attention. I usually walk her into the dance studio, make sure she is all set, but that day I got lazy and let her do it herself. All future drop-offs, I walk her in and make sure. Never again. I still get upset when I think about it. TLDR, dropped off my 7-year-old daughter at her dance class, class was canceled, and I didn't walk her in to make she was handed off safely. She was stranded for an hour crying. TIFU for cheating on my hydraulics exam. I just came back after the school, after having a terrible partial period where I got pretty bad grades. Normally I get between 8 to 9 out of 10, but my grades now are between 3 to 5. I got very depressed. This last week was the exam period, and I got medium grades in all my exams. But in my hydraulics subject, I was getting very low grades, getting the total grade to almost 0. Today was my exam, and I got very anxious after I only studied a little the day before. So when I got into the exam, I was near an anxious episode. At the beginning, the exam was fine, but when I see the answers below, I realized that I didn't study an important subject, so I started freaking out. I want to believe that it was all the stress, but I got pretty scared, so when the professor got out of my sight, I pulled out my phone and I started searching a little chart related to the topic. But when I turned my head backwards, I realized that the professor was right behind of me. I believe it isn't necessary to say that he took it and locked it on his desk and withdraw my exam after canceling it and leaving me without a grade. After the exam ended, I tell the professor that I needed to get my cell phone back, but he tell me that I needed one of my parents to go pick it back. After trying calling my dad and my stepmom attended, I got pretty confused. She tell me that my dad was working and left his phone on the house. Aside of that, my stepmother told me to head back home and that I will get it after a few days when she or any of my parents could go to the school. When I got back to my house, my stepmom was very mad at me because I head back home and didn't tell anyone, completely ignoring the fact that she told me to go back home and that she talked with my mom from my dad's cell phone. After that, I started eating compulsively, sleeping a lot, but actually not resting, and in general, I'm pretty freaked out. I'm waiting for my dad to finish working to tell him all the truth. Wish me luck. PD. If anyone knows a way to calm down myself, I will appreciate it a lot. PPD. Sorry for the English, I'm not an English native speaker. TLDR. I cheated on my exam and preoccupied all my family because I didn't have a method of communication. Please like and subscribe for more daily content.